Welcome to the fantasy.
No, this isn't happening! There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
Zone.
Don't forget to subscribe!
Well, with the popularity of the Mega Mans, it's only natural a spin-off is made to really milk it. Enter Mega Man X. When the Super Nintendo was released, Capcom kept making games for the NES for some reason, but after 3 years they decided to finally transition to the future in more ways than one. With the more advanced hardware, Keiji Inafune, known as the father of Mega Man, decided to reinvent the Blue Bomber. This included not just gameplay, but also his look and a more mature plot. Honestly, I always avoided Mega Man X, because it always felt like the edgy Mega Man to me, like, it's Mega Man X because it's extreme. I have a huge bias towards bright, fun, cartoony graphics, so whenever I would see this Mega Man looking all serious and hearing of how it's darker, it just turned me off. I always assumed X was the Mega Man for edgelords, until I found out about the canceled Mega Man reboot, and I'd like to apologize to Mega Man X fans everywhere. This will be the first time I've ever played a Mega Man X game, and I'll be playing all 8 of the mainline games that were released on home consoles. And honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to it. This series is well loved just as much, if not more, than the original Mega Man, and it's where Zero comes from, whose games on the GBA helped introduce me to Mega Man. I'm pretty excited. Honestly, I can't wait to see what I've been missing out on all these years. They're the same game. Like, you see this and this, it's like they're the same. Why are you going to do a spin-off if you're just going to do the same thing? Yes, I'm not kidding. Mega Man X is the same as the OG. It's an action platformer where you run, jump, and shoot through 8 levels, where at the end you fight a boss, get their weapon, which you can use on other bosses since they are weak to it, and it all ends with a gauntlet of levels at the end where you fight the same 8 bosses you just fought back to back, and fight the same main antagonist you've beaten multiple times in the past. It's the same game. There are obviously differences that make it its own, like the darker and more fleshed out story. Sometime during the original Mega Man, Dr. Light made a robot called Mega Man X that could think and feel on its own and have free will. Even though he already made the original Mega Man, but whatever. Realizing there is a rule that robots cannot harm human beings, he seals X in a diagnostic capsule to download morality and a sense of right and wrong into him. Yeah, question? That's a cool story and all, but he's a robot. Why can't you just program he cannot harm humans? I know it's the whole philosophical quandary of AI and all that sci-fi explores, blah blah blah, but he's a robot. Just program it in. I just don't understand how these genius scientists can program free will, but can't program it in a failsafe or an off button. 100 years after X was made, and geez, like, is that diagnostic running on AOL or something? Another scientist named Dr. Kane finds X's capsule and thinks it's the dopest shit in the world. So he makes a bunch of other robots that replicate X's ability to have free will, named Reploids. When shockingly, this free will makes some Reploids go rogue and attack humans. These rogue robots are called Mavericks, and the main robots you fight as bosses in these games. To combat them, the Maverick Hunters are formed. They are a group of Reploids designed to combat the Mavericks. The leader of the Maverick Hunters, named Sigma, also created by Kane, becomes a Maverick too, because he's still installing free will in these things for some reason, and basically starts a war between humans and robots. Why are scientists in science fiction the dumbest people on the planet? X, feeling guilty that he was the cause of this, even though he totally wasn't, he joins the Maverick Hunters and with their new leader Zero fights Sigma and his Mavericks to bring peace back to mankind. I find the story of the X games to be okay, kind of fell off around 6 for me. I mean, really the only thing you can compare it to is the original Mega Man, and I'd say if you did, the OG Mega Man comes off more like a Saturday morning cartoon and X is like a continuous shonen manga. And by continuous shonen manga, I mean, it seems like it's going somewhere, but you know it ultimately isn't because it's got to keep going until it stops making money. All 3 Mega Man X games on the Super Nintendo are basically the same, kind of like the original Mega Man games. However, one reason even myself and a lot of other fans I think like about the X games compared to the original is the difference in controls. And you'll notice that right away with the first game when you get the dash mechanic. In OG Mega Man, the fastest form of movement is a slide, which you perform by hitting down and the jump button. Here they simplify X's movement by just giving him a dash. If you want, you can even tap the D-pad twice to dash, kind of like a fighting game. Another new mechanic is the wall jump. Mastering this allows you to, jump on walls. Definitely makes some tricky jumps easier, as well as bosses when you know how to use it. There are also hidden health upgrades and armor pieces you can get in the stages to power up. The dash is one of these upgrades, you can't really miss it. The rest you find through secret paths or they're just hidden in the level. And man, let me tell you, when you're fully powered up in this game, it feels fucking great. Especially when you get used to dashing and wall jumping and you're able to go by everything, barely taking any damage. It's so fun. Ultimately though, I can't get over how it's just a Mega Man game. Now it's a damn good one, and it does shake things up control-wise, but the blueprints are still a Mega Man game. 8 stages, 8 bosses, including some good old-fashioned retro gaming bullshit. Actually though, compared to the original Mega Man, I find X to be way easier. The only time I died was in the beginning when I was getting used to the controls, but after that I had no trouble with the rest of the game. X2 and 3, I don't have much to say. They are both very identical to me. Similar to the NES Mega Mans, not much was done to differentiate the sequels from the predecessors. I personally find X1 to still be my favorite of the SNES trilogy, maybe of all of them. Mostly because the story and gameplay complemented each other, with X being new to fighting and needing to power up, and getting all the upgrades as you progress felt like it was me, the player, as X slowly getting stronger after each challenge, instead of him just, getting some BS superpower during some cutscene. And the other two just couldn't really replicate that feeling for me. They're still good, but I think one's the best. Alright, let's briefly move on to the next generation, with X4 through 6 that are on the PlayStation. You know what that means? FMV cutscenes. Other than stellar voice acting and the clear graphical and sound improvements, it's just Mega Man's again. It switches it up by letting you have the ability to play as both X and Zero. I chose X every time because we'll talk about Zero later. Other than that, it's some Mega Mans. It's cool how 5 and 6 you get to use Mega Man's super duper armor from the start, having its abilities at all times and having things like the air dash available, auto charge and auto fire options are all welcome quality of life improvements. 5 I think is good but flawed, a lot of RGBS. 6 is full of tons of RGBS. I could get into it, but I'm not. 4 is okay. Now I think X7 is where a lot of fans fell off with the game. For one, Mega Man X isn't even a playable character right away. Yeah, you have to unlock him by either rescuing a certain number of these civilians, I think, or beating all your robot masters. Who replaces X? This little turd named Axel. I don't know if other people like him, but I don't. His voice grates on me and he comes off as a lame fanboy.
Hey, I knew you'd understand. I always thought you and X were so cool.
Worst part though is they fuck up the one thing all X games had going great until this point, the gameplay. Going to 3D models, I guess Capcom decided to go full 3D. There are still side-scrolling platforming sections, but sometimes it goes into this behind-the-back view. The camera view fucks me up sometimes. Like here, the camera is at this weird 2.5D angle, so I naturally hold the controller in the down right position, but instead I just duck and take damage. And even if you figure out what direction you're going, good luck dealing with the controls. The side-scrolling bits are not the worst I've ever felt. That's the nicest thing I can say about those. 3D sections can suck in Mega Buster. I can't really judge my distance between me and the enemy, which isn't a problem for Axel since he has a gun, but Zero you have to get up close and use a saber, and it feels so wrong. You need to get so close that by the time you get there, the enemy fires a shot on you. You can deflect blasts because you know he's got a lightsaber, but it doesn't change the fact that due to the physics, you're gonna get hit sometimes. My major problem with this game, though, is how slow it feels. Even dashing doesn't feel nearly as fun as past games. There are cutscenes in between every stage, so much talking, it's like just get to the level, but when you get to the level, it just walks so slow. Look at this walk speed. What is this, Mega Man 8? He also must have been running out of ideas for robots by this point. One of the bosses is a fucking onion. This is supposed to be the Dark series, right? Alright, let's move on to the last game, Mega Man X8. And I'm surprised, it's not complete garbage. You can play as X, Zero, and Axel right off the bat, which is already a step up from 7. Yeah, Axel is back, but don't worry, he's not as annoying as he was before. Each character not only plays differently, but each even get their own weapon after defeating the Mavericks. The gameplay is way better than 7. They enabled turbo mode, so it's not as slow as it used to be. They also got rid of the 3D aspect, aside from some vehicle sections. It doesn't feel as good as the sprite days from 1 through 6, but it's an improvement over 7. This game, I'm pretty sure, is fully voiced, and I'm sad to report, at this time, Capcom hired professional voice actors. Never forget Dr. Wily. The annoying stuff is still here. There are a lot of these rooms where you just kind of do a thing for like 2 minutes, like dodging hazards and killing enemies. These are no better than auto-scrollers to me. They grind the game to a halt real quick. Also, I'm really not liking X lately. His whole thing with the past 2 games is constantly talking about how we shouldn't fight, guys. We gotta find peaceful ways. Yeah, cool, X, didn't you decide to fight because you thought this whole Maverick thing was your fault? Mega Man 8 is a fine game. It's not great, there are definitely better X games, but I had a fun time playing this. It's the game Mega Man X7 should have been. And yeah, this was a shorter one, obviously, because I don't have much to say about the Mega Man X games, because they're just the same as the regular Mega Man games to me, just with a different story. That's all the mainline X games. I guess like I did with OG Mega Man, my favorites in order-ish, I would say are 1, 5, honestly 2, 3, and 4 are all the same to me, 8, 6, and then 7. I'd say when it comes to gameplay, X definitely has it over the OG. Dashing and wall jumping are just too fun. I can see why people love these games so much. Still not really into the world and story personally. Mega Man X5 was actually supposed to be where the story was going to end, but of course Capcom wanted more money, so they made 3 more, and you can tell those games were lacking in the writing department. Yeah, I realize I didn't talk that much about that story, considering that's one of the draws of this game, But to me, action platformer Mega Mans are more about the gameplay than a plot. Don't worry, we'll get to a last story recap for Mega Mans eventually. We sure will.